has got some marbles for brains from what we've seen on TV. So Trump fires, and then also the timing of all this is strange, okay? So let's break it down. Trump fires Attorney General Pam Bondi on April 2nd, okay? And then she's replaced by Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who's the same guy that butchered every question that he was answered about Epstein live on Fox, where the reporter was like, major winners for the energy sector. But we haven't talked about food ETFs, guys. We have not talked about the food ETFs. I want to put these all on your radar right now. So the first ETF is going to be Moo, just like a cat. That's the Van Eck ETF. They do a lot of ETFs. If you look at their daily chart, they are in a breakout pattern right now. It is testing the previous resistance area where it broke. If this thing rips over $87, guys, there is a company out there called Blue Owl Capital. And I want you guys to really think about what's going on right now, because I'll tell you what, firsthand, this is true. Because the speed that I'm building landing pages, making databases, making this and that, I think the tech sector is in for a shake.
In crypto is, you guessed it, the quantum threat again. But this time, what makes it very alarming is that Google is confirming it, right? So Google published a paper this week demonstrating that quantum computers could crack elliptic curve cryptography. This is the technology that protects Bitcoin and Ethereum, the cryptographic foundation of Bitcoin and Ethereum, using roughly 20 times fewer qubits than previously believed.
Welcome back to another episode of The Market Take, breaking down what's happening around the world in the markets and in crypto.
And if you like being informed about this kind of stuff, please consider subscribing to our channel. And if you do watch our content and you're not sure if you're subscribed, please double check. A lot goes into making these videos, and we get super motivated when we see that people are interested. So yeah, thank you.
Guys, welcome back to another episode of The Market Take. The date is April 2nd. We are officially in Q2. Where has the quarter gone?
Wow. I mean, here we are, right? 6 weeks into the war, I believe. Already? It's been 6 weeks? Time's flying.
Yeah, we are in week 6. We're in week 6 until the strait's been closed, guys.
That's crazy. What's oil at right now, real quick?
Pushing over 100 right now. Let's check. Yep, 113. Getting ready for that recession here soon. It's up 1%.
Dang, 130. That's scary.
It spiked big on April 2nd, but we'll get into that. It went from $98 all the way up to $111 on April 2nd, just a few days after we did the March 30th market take. So let's get into why oil is still acting the way it is, and let's go over to different sectors. So Justin, what's going on right now with the ultimatum and reopening the strait?
Yeah, guys. So last week you saw Trump give an ultimatum and then give a delay or an extension because, you know, he thought there was negotiations on the table. Well, if there wasn't, there was a lot of tit-tat back and forth. There was, you know, ceasefire plans being exchanged back and forth with each other. No one could agree on it. And now we are back at that 48-hour window with Trump. But this time it seems like he's pretty serious about it. I don't know. Is this another marketing charade or another market charade like last time with the extension of the 5-day window? He's supposed to be going balls to the wall.
Are you talking about his crazy Truth Social post
that
he did?
Yeah.
What did he say in that?
He said, Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped up into one. He's referring to the bridges and the power plants in Iran.
Yeah.
There will be nothing like it. And then he goes, open the fucking strait, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch.
Well, he said star. But yeah, I can't believe he said that.
Yeah. I mean, if we could just bleep that. But like, that's what he said, you know, word for word on Truth Social. So, you know, we will see Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time if he's serious or not. Now, do we think the Iranians are going to come to the table with a solution? Yes or no?
No. There's still no peace talks. You remember last episode we said how Trump gave them a 15-point plan and Iran hit him back with a 5-point plan, and there's still zero zero resolution. It looks like those poly market bettors that were betting on the ceasefire are going to get liquidated because the ceasefire is not coming to a close.
Nope, doesn't look. I do. I think. I hate to say it, but I think we're going to see just absolute all hell break loose, like they're saying.
And right now, is the U.S. still trying to rescue that downed fighter jet pilot, or have they been successfully rescued him?
They rescued him on Easter Day, and we're gonna break that down because it's a really insane operation. But yeah, I mean, I guess we could go right into it though, guys. What Arthur's referring to this past weekend, two military aircrafts were shot down. One was a F-15 Strike Eagle, which is a fighter jet. Another one was the A-10 Warthog. A-10 Warthog is a aerial support, aircraft that's meant to, give ground troops support. It's a very lethal. It's a very lethal piece of equipment for sure. Very frightening when you see those in the sky and the noises that they make. But, those two aircrafts were shot down. Now, the F-15 is usually manned by a two-person crew, right? You have the pilot and then you have the weapons officer. Weapons officer, basically what they're responsible for is targeting and dropping the bombs and the missiles and everything. That's what the weapons officer does. Now when... First, before we get into the F-15 Strike Eagle, let's discuss what happened to the A-10 Warthog. A-10 Warthog was doing some kind of a ground support mission, and it got struck. But
what is the A-10 Warthog?
It's not a fighter jet. It's mainly for ground support, like I was just saying a minute ago. But basically, I'm actually a big fan of the A-10 Warthog. You ready for this? Basically, it's a giant ass rotary cannon gun, right? That shoots a very large projectile. It's not like it's larger than you know what a minigun is?
Yeah.
It's like that, but a lot bigger. And it's
that's like those SUVs you see that have that missile that it just looks like it just got a bunch of holes ready for missiles.
It's not that.
I know what you're talking about.
It's like a gigantic minigun that shoots really large caliber rounds.
It's tight.
Just think of it as honestly, I think it's they're explosive rounds, to be honest. But yeah, and it's this huge ass gun that they built an plane around. Yeah, I mean, you guys look up the A-10 Warthog on Google. It's, those aircrafts are super effective, super insane. But yeah, so one of those were doing an operation somewhere over Iran, and then it got struck by a anti-aircraft missile, or they're called SAMs, surface to air missiles. And the pilot was able to fly out of Iranian territory or Iranian airspace and eject over the Persian Gulf, where there was a bunch of U.S. assets there. So he was rescued. But the F-15 Strike Eagle that got shot down, one pilot ejected. Well, both of them ejected, but the pilot was able to land in friendly territory in Kuwait. So he was quickly picked up, treated at the hospital over there. But the second pilot landed deep inside Iranian enemy territory. And I think he went missing for about a few days. And yeah, I mean, it made, it was all over Iranian news. Even the Iranians were offering a reward to find him. Dude, if he got found by the Iranians, I mean, that would have been bad news. We probably would have never seen him again. And it would have been well, I'm not saying we would have never seen him again, but that pilot would have been, absolutely tortured without a doubt. Now
they went at Iran pretty hard to rescue this pilot.
Oh yeah,
based on the operation and the details,
yeah.
Why was it so significant?
Dude, I mean, that's just that usually, I mean, honestly, that's just the lengths that we would go to save one of the. I mean, let's just break down how the operation went, right? There was about I want to say 100 to 200 special operators involved, including Navy SEALs, SEAL Team 6, DevGru, and Green Berets and PJs. PJs are like the special forces for the Air Force. They specialize in rescue operations like this and getting injured soldiers out of very combative areas. That's what they specialize. They're literally special forces, on the ground paramedic doctors, dude. They could do on the field crazy surgeries in the helicopter. They're pretty insane. But also, so with this operation, it actually was a multi-day strategic planning event. The CIA was involved too, and what CIA's role was in this was, first they were dishing out a disinformation campaign, right? So what they were doing in their disinformation campaign was basically spreading fake news in Iran that the pilot got rescued already, or the pilot got captured already. So all the everyone that's searching for him, whether it be the IRCG, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, or locals trying to look for them, because the IRCG put out an award. Everybody was looking for this guy. So they'll put out disinformation campaigns. How they do that, I don't know. A trade secret, obviously. But they'll do that to kind of deter the search parties looking for him. Now, it was said that this pilot was hiding in a mountainous crevice, basically a cave deep in the Iranian mountains.
Dude, that's gotta be so terrifying.
Yeah. And how he was located was a safety beacon. So what happened was, a handful of first what they do is they'll send out a wave of helicopters and basically a C-130, which is a huge, gigantic air transportation aircraft that also has guns on it. No fighter jets, from what I believe.
Over 150 aircrafts, and 60 plus of them were fighters. Over 150 aircrafts, 64 fighter jets, four bombers, 48 refueling tankers, 13 rescue aircrafts, and then the U.S. warplanes, and then the MSC-130J. They were going all at it.
Yeah, they were. Oh, so okay, yeah. So this is what they do. So first, they'll do a recon mission, right? They'll fly over, survey the area, see what's around, right? They'll get intel, targets, everything. Then they'll come in and they bomb. They'll start bombing targets, right? Mm-hmm. And then whether it be convoys, right, that are searching the area, or outposts, military, whatever, and they'll start bombing that. And then will come in special forces, right? So you'll have, and usually special forces, you'll see the title Little Birds, the C-130s. A lot of the times special forces will parachute out of the C-130s. Little Birds too, they'll transport on the Little Birds, and they'll come in. And then you'll have Blackhawks too as well, providing some kind of aerial support, because Blackhawks, they'll have miniguns attached to them or whatever. They're very commonly, and a lot of the PJs will be in those Little Birds too. So they go in, right? They locate the pilot. So one thing about this too, this is what's crazy. So they get there, they're under fire, right? They're taking fire. The terrain is so sandy when these helicopters land, right? Mm-hmm. They can't lift back up, because they don't have a stable surface to lift back up.
Yeah.
So what they had to do is they had to essentially blow all the aircraft that they came in on, and bring in new aircraft to take them back out. So you'll read that they blew up around 4 MH6 Little Birds, which are those little special forces helicopters I was talking about. Mm-hmm. They blew up 2 C-130s on landing strips nearby, but the reason why they blew up the 2 landing strips is because they don't want that getting in Iranian hands, because mm-hmm. They have very classified equipment or highly sensitive equipment. And this is actually common procedure. You saw this in the Bin Laden raid, actually, right? When that super stealth Blackhawk that crash landed in the compound, they had to destroy it because they can't get that type of equipment into enemy hands. So yeah, I mean, they got him out of here. Luckily the pilot was okay, and his SEER training played off. A lot of these soldiers that, whether it be like, especially like a pilot or special forces soldiers that are like deep behind enemy lines, have to go through a SEER training, which is survival, escape, resist, and extract. Basically, they learn all these crazy survival skills, how to withstand like even like torture or like or how to like evade like a professional military. That's all in their SEER training, and it looks like it paid off for this pilot, and we are glad that he's back home safe.
Whew. Yeah, that's a lot. Let's kind of continue on the Trump stuff and kind of what's going on. If you guys saw last week, literally the day after we did the first market take, the day after the market take on Monday, Kristi Noem got fired. Kristi Noem, and then right after that, Pam Bondi got fired. Let's break down why they got fired. And I'm just laughing because of the other scandal that popped up with Kristi Noem and her husband, which, by the way, both of them have had many scandals, and both of them are complete. Both of them are just complete POSs. So
they're freaks.
Yeah. So
freaky freaks.
Yeah. So guys, Kristi Noem, who is the Homeland Security Secretary, she was fired by Trump, and the Republican Senator Mark Wayne Mullen from Oklahoma is basically going to be her temporary replacement. And I guess Kristi Noem is being switched to special envoy for the Shield of America, which is, I guess, some new kind of organization. I think that's just like a fancy title name for, hey, we're going to slowly sweep you under the rug, which is probably what's going to happen to Pam Bondi too. But basically, she was fired for promoting a $220 million ad where she's basically like riding horseback in Mount Rushmore. And then she testified that Trump approved this campaign, and it was false that Trump approved this campaign. He did not approve it. So she basically threw Trump under the bus on live TV. Because that never happened. Trump was furiated that she said that he approved this ad for $220 million. And then the two hearings that she basically was in charge of for the ICE stuff, basically for the death of Renee Good and Alex Preddy, she was not able to handle that court hearing whatsoever. She got caught lying in her testimony multiple times. She said one thing, and then when they questioned her a different way, she answered it in a completely different way. So completely bombed the hearings, which is ultimately what cost her the job, plus the stealing of over $200 million. When is everyone that committed this fraud just going to go to jail? I'm so tired of paying taxes. So tired, but
she's incompetent. She's super incompetent, and Pam Bondi's super incompetent too.
Yeah,
I know you're going to get into that.
Yeah. And then on top of that, guys, I won't post the picture because it's weird. But if you guys just Google Kristi Noem husband scandal, you'll see her husband has a fetish that I didn't know was a thing. It's called bimbofication. So this guy was paying $25 a minute. Guys, that's $250 in 10 minutes to basically speak like erotically on this line, on this phone sex line. And then he was taking photos and sending it to whoever he was talking to. And then if you look up the photos, this guy is wearing what looks like a like silicone gel, like
he's wearing a bodysuit with big.
He's wearing a bodysuit with fake tits, like he was on White Chicks, but it's like actually silicone with hard nipples, which is weird. He's wearing this thing.
To me, these traits are similar to the serial killer Ed Gein.
Buddy, you beat me to it.
right? Like Ed Gein, dude. Who?
Ed Gein?
First of all, it's
Ed
Gein.
Ed Gein.
It's Ed Gein.
Ed Gein.
He says Ed Gein in the show.
Ed Gein.
I want to say Gene too because it sounds more natural.
Yeah,
But
I didn't know, but the movie Psycho and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they're all based off of this.
yeah,
thing. Crazy.
yeah. And man, it's crazy because listen, Kristi Noem's husband looks like your typical
I'm gonna drop a picture in the chat.
yeah.
It won't
He
be on
looks like
YouTube,
your typical good old American dad, right? Right, but man.
Little do you know.
Behind closed doors, I'm not wanting to kink shame, but damn, I was not expecting that. and dude, the traits are he looks a little bit like Ed Gein. I'm not gonna lie.
He looks kind of whack.
But
yeah, let's keep going, guys. And then Pam Bondi, who we know has got some marbles for brains from what we've seen on TV. So Trump fires, and then also the timing of all this is strange. Okay, so let's break it down. Trump fires Attorney General Pam Bondi on April 2nd. Okay. And then she's replaced by Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who's the same guy that butchered every question that he was answered about Epstein live on Fox, where he was like, where the reporter was like, "When are you guys going to release all the documents?" And then Todd Blanche goes, I don't get where you guys are thinking that we just have this list on our table of everything that happened on Epstein Island. And then the reporters are like, that's literally what you guys have. You have sent out 3 million documents. You guys said there was 6 total documents. Other Republicans and the Democrats have said there's 6 million documents. Now you're saying that you've released all the documents. So he got grilled on Fox. He's replacing Pam Bondi. And then let me tell you how Pam Bondi...
That guy's replacing Pam Bondi?
That dum-dum. And then, so if you guys know, right? So Trump was frustrated with Pam Bondi on 2 points. One of Bondi's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein files, and 2, she didn't investigate or prosecute enough of his political opponents, which sounds like a little bit of weaponization. But here is the line, word for word, that got her smoked. Okay. She said to Fox News, and then she wrote to Fox News and said, an Epstein client list is sitting on my desk right now. And then the DOJ later said there's no such list that actually exists. So we're seeing 2 different stories, nonstop. And then if you guys remember, back in November 2025, there was a massive vote went for what's called the Transparency Act. They voted 427 to 1, and Trump signed it to release every single bit of the Epstein files within 30 days. We all know they missed that deadline, and only about 3.5 million of the 6 million pages have been released. And then if you guys remember, on March 1st, I can't talk today. If you guys remember, on March 1st, Pam Bondi got subpoenaed to talk in front of Congress on April 14th about basically all the files, what's going on, yada, yada. And then all of a sudden, she's fired just 2 weeks before that. So it looks bad because she was fired right before that, but there are Republicans and Democrats both saying that even though she got let go, she's still obligated to appear for her subpoena on April 14th, because this is going to be a deposition on how she's handled all the Epstein files. None of this is really wrapping up for me the way it should. You guys want the files out there, or do you guys not want the files out there? Because it sounds like there's some battling internally, and there's some disagreements. And then, have you guys noticed, where is JD Vance? He has pulled himself away from the Republican Party. Something is going on, dude.
Yeah, he's definitely the, I don't know, maybe he's playing 4D chess, maybe he's not, maybe he's trying to save his career. Because I'll tell you one thing right now, come midterms, it's like, it seems like a no-brainer on which way it's going to go. Like, this is an absolute circus act. What's going on right now? Like, literally, it's the most embarrassing thing ever, And I guarantee, I actually like Tulsi Gabbard though, but I guarantee she's next.
Tulsi Gabbard, man, she's solid. She's solid. She puts the she puts the hand down. There you go. I'm trying to think of a word. Guys, I've been on Claude too much nonstop today. That's why I'm chugging on the monster. But one more quick thing before we get into the next topic.
I was just gonna say, but yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying Tulsi Gabbard and this one I hopefully gets cut is Kash Patel. I just think he's doing a very negligent job right now. There's just so many things going on that are unanswered right now domestically.
Kash Patel?
Yeah.
Oh, that guy's too busy doing nose beers and chugging beers and doing nose beers.
Oh my God.
On that chotch.
Jesus.
Every photo I see of this guy, he looks like he's just zooted out on top of Coors Light Mountain.
Yipped up.
Zapped up.
No, I mean, to me, there's just so much stuff that's unanswered for. How we're in 2026 and we have an old lady still missing, Nancy Guthrie. They
can literally find you wiping your ass and knowing exactly when you're wiping your ass and send a drone the size of a fly to fly up your nose and kill you, but they can't find a single person.
And it's absolutely insane that TMZ has been doing better investigative work than the FBI in this case. And other stuff too, honestly, the list goes on, but yeah, I'm not. We shouldn't even get into that,
yeah.
But
well, no, I just also wanted to leave off too that as soon as Todd Blanche went on again on Fox News as a temporary replacement for Pam Bondi, he got questioned, and then he said the Epstein files should not be part of anything going forward. And then the person interviewing him said, "I'm not sure you totally get what people feel about that." And then he writes back, the Epstein saga is just something that's been going on too long. We need to drop this and we just need to move on. That's the tone for the new attorney general going forward is, you know what? We've been talking about this Epstein stuff too long. Let's just move on. Nah, buddy. Let's not move on. Let's get down to it, huh? Anyway, let's talk about more fraud going on in the world and U.S. history, and let's talk about how we never went to the moon. If you guys think we went to the moon in 1969 with that technology, even though Elon is spending billions of dollars to figure out how to land a rocket on something, you guys think we went to the moon then? I got news for you.
I guess, here's the big difference right now, right? It's the distance traveled, because obviously they in the 70s, allegedly they landed on the moon, the part that you could see. You can't see the far side of the moon ever because the moon does not,
because the Transformers are on the far side of the moon.
Exactly. But you can't see you never could see the other side of the moon because the moon does not rotate, right? But yeah, I mean, this is why it's so, such a big deal, is because this is the first time in history of humans traveling as far as they did from Earth. And as we speak right now, this is happening right now. I don't know if it already happened, but the astronauts are about to be on the far side of the moon where you can't see it, and they're going to take pictures of it. Now get this. When they get to that point of the moon, right behind it, all communications get cut off.
Dude, I'm trying not to interrupt.
I knew as soon as I was going to say that,
I'm not trying to interrupt.
He was going to say something.
But I'm going to just explode with facts as soon as you're done.
Okay. But as soon as you get behind the moon, all communications get cut off for 40 minutes. And they say that's because the moon is blocking the signal. Oh my God. Like the actual moon. Now,
But they were able to make contact easy in 1969. No problem.
Well, that's because they landed on the part that's facing the Earth.
Why are we acting like that's a massive jump in distance? They literally only went 3,400 miles more than in 1969 is what you're telling me. They went 3,400 miles more, and communication was like, whoa, no chance. Even though
4,600 miles.
Even though your iPhone supercomputer can build on Claude and make apps and programs nonstop, and in 1969 they were able to call you and say, Houston, we've landed on the freaking moon, but all of a sudden, over 50 years later, they couldn't just get 3,400 miles of signal.
Let me ask you a question.
3,400 miles of signal.
Let me ask you a question, Arthur. Let me ask you a question.
No, the Russians did not go either. The Russians were the king of psyops, so it was all a psyop.
What happens to your cell phone when you go underground and there's concrete above you?
Oh my God.
You lose signal.
We're not going underground.
What happens when you can't reach your Wi-Fi outside of your house? Why is that?
They had bigger antennas. They got bigger antennas, bro.
Yeah, but still, when there's hard structure like a freaking goddamn near a planet.
Have you seen Starlink fly around Earth nonstop?
Okay, is it flying around the moon? Is it pointing at the moon?
I don't care, bro. Don't tell me we went to the moon in 1969, bro. Don't tell me that.
Just because you watched a movie on Netflix that was kind of compelling on how we didn't go to the moon doesn't mean we didn't go to the moon.
Dude, the tech was not there, bro.
How do you know?
How? Okay, tell me this. How would they land on the moon and get enough propulsion to get back off the moon? When, like I said, Elon spent billions and billions and billions trying to figure out how to land rockets, because the whole purpose of landing rockets is so you can land on a planet and then fly back home.
Have you seen the spacecraft that landed on the moon?
No, because it never happened. I saw the Hollywood set that it happened on, but
that's not even. It's not a rocket though that landed on the moon. That's all trajectory, propulsion, and a bunch of crazy math. It wasn't a rocket. Elon spent billions on making reusable rockets that go to space and come back down and can land back on Earth, versus where we just land in water now, like parachute into water. That's what he spent billions on. Because those aren't reusable anymore. Those are one and done.
Okay. Why haven't we landed on the moon once in the last 20 years?
Maybe it wasn't in the cards.
Okay. Really? Really?
Maybe it's a feat not worth exploring again. Maybe we wanted to go further.
For what? We couldn't get closer
to see what's on the no human has seen the backside of the moon till now.
Oh my God. Look, this is my left hand and this is my right hand. Holy fuck.
What if there's a civilization on the other side of the moon? What if there's Transformers on the other side of the moon?
All right. Moving on.
Bro, don't you want to believe in innovation?
Of course I want to believe in innovation, but I don't want to get fed lies, okay? We all know that the Soviet Union invented espionage and the PSYOP. So they brainwashed people into thinking that they were up in space. So the US was like, oh, we got to copy the playbook. It's clearly what happened.
But that was a space race. That's just like two big countries competing with each other.
All right.
What?
You know, it only took us 50 years to figure out how to fly 3,000 miles more, and for some reason we still couldn't get signal. Okay, with all this tech. Well, let's get into the stock market. we got 15 minutes to cover stocks and crypto, Papa.
Oh, man, I got a lot of crypto too. Okay, go.
So obviously, guys, we are now week 6 into the straight being closed. Oil jumped another 11% on April 2nd, guys. It is rallying. We're at $113 a barrel right now. Like I said, analysts keep saying oil over 120 starts the recession. Some more not as extreme numbers are oil at 150. But now dozens and dozens of analysts, if you send me some rage bait DM about the moon right now, I'm be pissed.
I'm not.
I just saw you smirking over there.
I'm not Thomas the choo-choo train.
If if oil stays, if the strait stays closed for another 4 weeks, guys, you can bet oil will be well over 120. And I said if oil goes over 140, it's going to be a very bad recession. Well, now all the analysts that were saying 140, they're saying if the strait stays open in another 5 to 6 weeks, oil will be 150 plus. If the strait stays closed another 10 weeks, $200 a barrel. The average price of gas, if you guys remember, US wide went to $4. Now it's up again to $4.50. So over 10% increase. It's already been up like a 40% increase. Like I said, I was gone to Mexico for 1 month. My average tank of gas was 90 to 95 bucks. And now I'm paying 125 to 130. It's insane. And that was before I got gas before the other pump. So I think it's up a little bit more even now, which is wild. So
my brother sent me a picture. It's like $6.
Sick.
Well, yeah.
So right now, guys, oil is facing $600 million barrels of oil in the negative per day, and 350 million barrels of refined products. That's like gasoline, diesel, jet fuel in the negative per day. So that's nearly negative 1 billion barrels per day. So that's why the average price per gas is set to go up another over 10%, about 12% in just the next 2 weeks. And you gotta wonder that, like, how fabricated is this? Because we know that US actually has an insane amount of oil here on land. Blake's a landman. If he's in the chat, maybe he can chime in a bit. But Texas and US overall has a lot of oil resources. So it's almost like these prices are kind of forced to go up. What do you keep smirking at over there?
Dude, I'm just reading the chat.
A little interesting fact right here. Almost every economic downturn of the past half century was kicked off with soaring oil prices. So just saying, every single one since World War II, basically, except COVID. So if oil stays above $100 for another month, history says a recession follows. We're at 113 and there's no end in sight. I don't see it.
It's kind of scary, dude. Honestly, really scary to think about.
So we talked about the two sectors being hit the hardest, and we talked about the sectors that are doing the best, right? And the sectors that were getting hit the hardest was the chip sector. Okay. We talked about last week where hedge funds and smart money start to look at long-term positions right around the 30%, the 30% retracement from all-time highs. So once an asset drops around 20%, that's when capital starts to get deployed, and then the heavier dollar cost averages are around the 30 to 40% mark. And I want to go over some of the names that we mentioned last week, and that was MU was one of the ones that got hit the most. It dropped 34% from all-time highs, but since it's recovered 23%. Nvidia is dropped 59% from all-time highs, but it has recovered from the lows. It's down 16% from ATH all-time highs. AMD dropped 71% from all-time highs, then recovered 184%, still down 18% from all-time highs. Remember, if something drops 50% from all-time highs and then recovers 50%, it doesn't mean that it's back to all-time highs because of the drop that's happened. Intel was another one of those. But good news for stock Marvel, MRVL, not to confused with Marvel videos. Nvidia bought a stake in Marvel and partnered up with them to help with their chips and their chip arms, and it's up 13% based on that news. So like I said, when does the smart money start buying? after the 20% mark, that's when the first capital bit is deployed. And then after 30%, that is where heavy accumulation is. And then 40 to 50%, which is considered extreme fear for most retail investors, is when smart money goes into full deployment. The fertilizer sector, though, and I'm gonna skip over some stuff just based on time. But the fertilizer sector, the energy sector, and the food sectors are performing well. We've talked about energy, we've talked about the fertilizers, but what we haven't talked about is the food sector and the food ETFs, because the price of food is going up drastically, and if the strait continues to stay closed, food is going to keep going up crazy, which is again scary. So let's just recap what's going on with the fertilizers. We talked about CF. That's still the best fertilizer play out there. It's up 60% year to date. They have a really big advantage because they buy cheap domestic gas, and then they're able to sell to the markets in Europe and Asia. So they have a really solid business model. The other ones are NTR, which is Nutrien. They just got upgraded by Wells Fargo. They're up 25% year to date. They are a little bit more volatile than CF because they have a bit less exposure than CF, and their logistical costs are a bit higher than CF. And then the last one for fertilizers is Mosaic, MOS. They are up 18% year to date, which is lagging from the others, but Mosaic heavily depends on sulfur for their shipping, which a lot of sulfur is shipped through the Strait of Hormuz. So just keep that as like a sympathy play and really focus on CF and NTR. An overall global fertilizer, like just going to the store and buying some fertilizer, is up 26% globally, guys. 26% to plant a goddamn plant or fruit or anything. And then remember we were talking about all these other little stuff that you need for that. Sulfur is up like crazy. Aluminum is up like crazy, which you need as well. What else is up like crazy? One sec. I just lost my train of thought.
Aluminum, sulfur.
Yeah, sulfur is up like crazy, which I said, which is needed. But those are the major things going up. And then energy, we talked about XLE and XOM. Those are the major winners for the energy sector. But we haven't talked about food ETFs, guys. We have not talked about the food ETFs. I want to put these all on your radar right now. So the first ETF is going to be Moo. MOO, just like a cat. That's the Van Eck ETF. They do a lot of ETFs. If you look at their daily chart, they are in a breakout pattern right now. It is testing the previous resistance area where it broke. If this thing rips over $87, guys, expect this to move up, move a lot higher, probably near the $90+ range, up to like the 94 range. And then there is a gap that we could test all the way up to $100 plus. But this is a huge one because this ETF, they hold fertilizer stocks, seed companies, and food processors. So you're getting exposure in the fertilizer, and you're getting exposure in the food. And they're up 23% to date. So this will be like the best ETF if you're looking for like the entire food chain thesis, meaning the shipping, the cost of the shipping, the whole oil narrative, the fertilizer narrative, and the food stocks. MOO ETF gets you all in there. Now, if you're looking straight up just for food, here's a good one to check out, guys. It's called DBA. Also, another ETF right now that is very bullish on the daily. It is testing some major resistance areas right around the $30 range. If it breaks out of the $30 range, this thing can pump back up to $35 and then back to previous highs at $40 plus. So, 10-20% potential here for DBA. And DBA tracks grains, cattle, pork, coffee, sugar, corn, all that stuff. All that will surge like crazy. Companies that are surging like crazy right now and that investors are looking at are like doomsday supplier companies, because a lot of people are buying like food they could store for like 1 to 2 years, not to put like doomsday pressure on. And then the last one,
start stacking up, to be honest. You should.
Yeah. And then the last one for food guys is VEGI, which is another ETF, very similar to MU, but it does have broader market exposure, which means it's not as volatile because of the broader exposure. But if you guys look at this thing, it is right at breakout levels right now. VEGI, this thing is ready to move back to all-time highs right now. It's trading at $46. This thing should go back to $50, and then if not, rip even higher from there. Everybody should be keeping VEGI on their list. And then the volume for VEGI is record levels. The last time it was this high was way back in 2022, and now it's the highest, second highest volume in its history on it. So it's pretty damn important. What else do I got for stocks?
Let's talk about the SpaceX IPO.
Yeah,
real quick. Let's get into that.
Yeah, go over the SpaceX IPO, and then I want to get into what's going on with Blue Owl Capital.
Oh yeah, I saw the
yeah,
Blue
that's
Owl
a big
Capital.
one, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be quick about the SpaceX IPO, but yeah, guys, I mean, this is the most anticipated IPO that's probably going to come out this year. It's going to be a $1.75 to $2 trillion valuation, which you said was more than Tesla, didn't you? Last market take.
Yes. Yep. And it's still more than Tesla. Dude, Tesla is getting creamed right now. Bad. The stock keeps dumping. Tesla's market cap is 1.35 right now.
Guys, huge events like this too. You can imagine that like a huge IPO like this, that it's going to pull from pretty much every part of the market, you would say, right? Especially the tech sector. So we also have like other IPOs that we're supposed to be looking forward to as well, like OpenAI, Anthropic. Wait, did Open go public? They didn't go public, did they? So like, OpenAI, Anthropic. When you have a huge IPO like this, like I said, it's going to be taking a majority of the IPO funds that would normally be available for like other IPOs, but this is going to be a vacuum, and other IPOs that are possibly coming out this year might not perform as well because of that. But yeah, I mean, so keep a lookout for that. That's going to be super exciting. What do you think? Like, rough ballpark, what do you think it's gonna open up at?
Well, open probably. I don't know, but I'll tell you what, if they actually make it to the moon, it'll soar. I'm not letting that one go.
They're already behind the moon right now. They're like literally behind the moon.
Yeah, but they're not landing
like, I think like this is the farthest humans have ever traveled in space before.
So they tell us.
Do you believe that they're up there right now?
What if we're the aliens?
Probably are.
And we get described as like long gray figures with eyes and noses. It's like, what if that's what we're described
as? Dude, there's probably a parallel universe, right? Or a galaxy is literally, a galaxy, right?
Is that your flashlight?
No, but a galaxy, right, is just a culmination of like stars and planets.
Yep.
And there's thousands of other galaxies in the universe, and they probably all think the same as we think about them. Yeah. We're just a speck. We're literally a speck.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But anyways, let's go on. Guys, let's blow out capital, because we need
last thing for stocks, and then we'll go into crypto. And so, guys, right now there is a company out there called Blue Owl Capital, and I want you guys to really think about what's going on right now, because I'll tell you what, firsthand, this is true, because the speed that I'm building landing pages, making databases, making this and that, I think the tech sector is in for a shaking. So what's going on right now, guys, is Blue Owl Capital basically saw kind of like a bank run. So what Blue Owl Capital is they're basically a firm, and they give out loans to these tech companies. Excuse me. These are privately funded loans. These aren't companies that are raising capital. They don't have public shareholders. It's basically just private money funding. So people can park their money into these funds, and these funds give out loans to tech companies, and then the tech companies are obviously supposed to pay them back, right? So what's going on right now is over 40% of their funds that they have, it was requested to be withdrawn. So it's the largest withdrawal that they've ever seen before, because the largest in history before that was only 21%. So what's going on right now is that these funds invest into private loans, right? So they can't be sold off like stocks right away for cash, because it's a loan. There's terms for that loan, and the loan takes some time to be paid back. So if 40% of your investors want their money back based on their loan, they have to sell those loans for like pennies on the dollar, which would destroy the whole portfolio of the company in itself. So think of it like a bank run. When everyone goes to the bank run to get cash, this is like everyone going to their investment fund and then basically saying, hey, I want all my money back. So they capped the withdrawal to 5% per quarter, basically locking up investors' money, which is crazy. And the reason why these investors are trying to withdraw is basically AI disruption fears, meaning that, they're not sure what's going to happen to these companies. Are they going to lay off a ton of staff, which would be a good thing because then the company makes more money. But the other big thing is a lot of these tech companies are going to literally go out of business, because if people get smart with AI, they don't need these tech companies. Let's use a prime example of us and in Stock Locked. Calendly, a massive private company whose whole business model is creating a meeting system where people can schedule calls and then meetings. Claude was able to make my own Calendly for me. That means we don't need Calendly anymore. There's going to be so many other tech companies like Typeform, like this and that, where the user just says, hey, do the same functions as Typeform and make it mine. Do the same functions of Calendly and make it mine. So these tech companies are getting burned. People are pulling out of the tech race. There's going to be a huge shift. Sorry, bro. I know you really want to get into crypto, and we got 9 minutes, but that's the best that I could say for that situation. And like I said, a lot of analysts with their AI models are saying that a recession probability is at 49%, and every week that we stay with the straight close, that probability goes up another 1% to 2%. Justin, crypto, take it away.
I mean, we only got time for one topic, to be honest. But
okay.
I think the most talked about topic right now in crypto is, you guessed it, the quantum threat again. But this time, what makes it very alarming is that Google is confirming it, right? So Google published a paper this week demonstrating that quantum computers could crack elliptic curve cryptography. This is the technology that protects Bitcoin and Ethereum. The cryptographic foundation of Bitcoin and Ethereum using roughly 20 times fewer qubits than previously believed. The hardware required still doesn't exist, but the floor for what's required just dropped significantly. If you guys didn't know, Google has a quantum computing chip called Willow. And Willow has been pushing the boundaries. The Willow is able to run what is called Shor's algorithm, which is required to crack, for short, ECC, the elliptic curve cryptography. Now, the big difference here was before Willow wasn't able to run Shor's algorithm sustainably, right? It was just experimental. But as Willow developed, it was able to sustain and basically power Shor's algorithm for an extended amount of time, more than previous before, which gave Google the alarm like, hey, this is coming sooner than later. So this is actually, this is very worrisome for Bitcoin and for Ethereum because, in the past, people thought we had, 10, 15 years from now. But now they're estimating that, hey, Google's saying you have until by 2029, latest 2032, where quantum computing completely just cracks the code.
Jeez.
Right? Because what happens is quantum computing, usually what takes like normal computers to solve EEC problems, billions of years, will take minutes for quantum computing. Now, when you do a transaction on Bitcoin, right, your public key is available while the transaction is going through, which could take up to 10 minutes. So in that window, that's the window of opportunity for these quantum computers
Public
to like
key. What do you mean?
Yeah. So when you
like your seed phrase key?
No, your public key is like literally your address, but attached to every wallet is a private seed, right? For Bitcoin, when you're processing a transaction, it goes into a mempool. That mempool takes about 10 minutes, and after that transaction is done, your public key cannot be seen anymore. For Ethereum, it can always be seen. So in this, for Bitcoin, that 10-minute window is when quantum computing can actually crack the EEC of Bitcoin, and for Ethereum, it can do it whenever, right? There's no time limit. So to explain this in layman's terms, so I guess to explain a little bit easier, think of elliptic curve cryptography like a high-tech combination of a high-tech combination lock with billions of possible numbers, right? A normal computer tries to crack the lock by turning the dial one number at a time. So 1, 2, 3, right? Even if it can try a billion numbers a second, the combination in ECC is so long that the universe would end before computer finished guessing EEC. But a quantum computer doesn't guess numbers. It uses Shor's algorithm to treat the lock like a musical instrument. So think of it like this, right? Every math problem has a hidden frequency or a repeating pattern. A quantum computer puts the lock into a state where it's vibrating at every possible frequency at once through a process called interference. The frequencies that are wrong, the wrong combinations, go out of sync, and then they cancel each other out. Basically, they go flat. There's no noise. There's no frequency. If the right frequency stays perfectly in sync and it gets louder and louder, it vibrates louder and louder and louder, and then like a quantum chip will see that, and then it will solve that problem, and that's basically what and that's how it solves ECC. So for too long, in a shorter way to say that, think of your private seed phrase as a needle in a haystack, and basically Shor's algorithm, which the quantum computer chip is powering, is a magnet, and it just extracts that seed phrase without having to siphon through all these different like numbers and needles and everything. And that's basically how that works. So that's very real. In another news for crypto, North Korea, Lazarus Group, notorious crypto hacking group, drained Drift Protocol, Solana's largest decentralized perp exchange, for $285 million. Perp exchange, think of Hyperliquid, think of Drift, think of other exchanges that allow on-chain perpetual trading. So how they did this was pretty crazy, actually. The setup started in October 2025 when attackers posing as a quantitative trading firm approached Drift contributors at a major crypto conference. Crypto conference wasn't named yet, but I'm sure we'll find out soon. Over 6 months, they built real relationships with protocol insiders. Guys, what you'll notice is that a common theme in these is social engineering. What I'm talking about is social engineering, not on a technical aspect at all. So over 6 months, they built real relationships with protocol insiders in person at multiple industry events. When the time came, they used that access to socially engineer multi-sig signers into pre-approving hidden transactions. Basically, a lot of these exchanges for security purposes use multi-sig signing for any transaction that they do in the back end to move funds around. So they gained access to that. And they are pre-approving hidden transactions through a Solana feature called Durable Nonces that allowed the authorizations to sit dormant for weeks. So they could approve a transaction, but that transaction won't happen until they call upon it. These are commonly also called reentrancy attacks. This is why when you're signing stuff, you guys got to be very careful, because a lot of these platforms, their approvals when you sign them allow crazy permissions, like to basically access your wallet whenever you want. So so they also manufactured a fake token called CVT with a few $1,000s in seeded liquidity and wash trading, then used it to manipulate Drift's price oracles into treating it as a legitimate collateral worth hundreds of millions. So yeah, they were using that fake token basically to, drain other tokens when trading with each other. But yeah.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Next week, Market Take. We got to cut this one ASAP. Don't forget, Clarity Act pending approval in the next 2 weeks. That's going to set the tone for the rest of the market. See you guys next week. Thanks, everybody. Peace.